Hello everyone, and welcome to the first episode of Stranger Worlds, a new Let's Play, First Played, Never Played series with me, Stef, and my good friend, Mark.
Hello!
So Mark, this kind of came about because you've never really played an MMO, have you?
No. Aside from maybe 20 minutes of WoW 6 years ago, I can't say I've ever played an MMO. I've always been something that I was interested in and kind of wanted to give a go, but it just never really appealed to me. And originally I never really had a PC that could run anything.
Yeah, fair enough.
And then I got a nice laptop that could run games, and then it just never got around to playing any MMOs.
Well, that's fine. Yeah, a lot of people haven't played them. So, for those of you who do know me, and those of you who don't know me, this is what I'm going to say next. I have been playing MMOs for a long time. From, I don't know if anybody will remember the game Tibia back in the day. You can Google that later, Mark. We won't be playing Tibia. You feel free to put some footage of it here. I don't know, but it was a travesty. In fact, a funny story about that. My little brother, when he was younger, because I got everyone I knew into video games and MMOs, and that naturally included my family. My little brother and my cousin, Joseph and Rowan respectively, posted money to Germany to pay for an advanced subscription
Really?
on Tibia. But you see, like, you think in that case, they posted like a check. No, the pound coins that they had saved up, they posted to Germany, and they were young enough they didn't really realise that it was a problem. But it was like 20 quid's worth of coins.
Wow.
And my brother got his account, but Rowan's mysteriously went missing, the money in the post. But anyway, we're not here to talk about Tibia. I could talk about
the Royal Mail.
We're going to talk about one of the first proper MMOs that I really ever played, and I'm going to introduce you to them pretty much one after the other. So this is the first one. This is World of Warcraft.
The Big Daddy.
Arguably the biggest of the daddies of the MMO world. It has been going for years. I think 11, 12 years at this point.
It's definitely over 10 years now.
Yes, I was there when the 10-year anniversary was happening. Arguably Blizzard's biggest moneymaker to date. I know they've got a lot of cash from Diablo and from StarCraft, but I would argue that World of Warcraft's probably made more money. I don't actually know the figures, so I could be very wrong.
Well, they have regularly between like 8 and 12 million players, so
yeah, in circulation. They win some, they lose some. Obviously, the new expansion has recently come out. I've talked about that a bit on the podcast. I have now done my class quest stuff for Legion. I have started doing, collecting armor sets and everything like that. So what we're going to do today is make you a character, and we'll get you into the game and explore these quote-unquote strange worlds. I hate myself a little bit right now. So, World of Warcraft is an interesting game insofar as the classes you can play are limited depending on which race you pick. So, we'll go through the races first, and then we'll go through the classes. So, on the Alliance side, because the game is split into two halves, the Alliance and the Horde. The Alliance is human, dwarf, night elf, gnome, draenei, worgen, and some pandas. The Horde are orcs, undead, tauren, trolls, blood elves, goblins, and other pandas.
That poor panda civil war.
I will state for the record, I'm an Alliance player. I've always been an Alliance player. I'm not massively a fan of the Horde. And that will draw the ire of many people. However, I'll try to be as unbiased as possible. But anyway, we'll start off the Alliance side because it's on the left. So, first race in the Alliance are the humans. They are humans. If you think of a human in your head, guess what? That's what they look like. They have certain increases to stats like most different races do. They have the ability to break out stun effects, bonus reputation gains, all stuff that can come along later in the game. We'll get onto that while we're playing, probably. But yeah, generic human character model. Underneath them, dwarves. Think of a dwarf. It's a man with a beard, and he's quite short. Interestingly, they're not the women from Lord of the Rings. They don't have beards as well. Lean heavily towards a Scottish bent. In the lore, they have been essentially shaped from the earth by titans. Again, we'll get onto that. There's a lot of lore involved in not just World of Warcraft, but in the 3 games that came before it, Warcraft 1, 2, 3, and all the expansions. They start off in Khazmodan. No, I could be very wrong with that. Haven't played a dwarf in a while. But they are resistant to frost damage. They get dip bonuses from archaeology for some reason because they're good at digging. I think that's the reason why.
Well, all dwarves are usually kind of cast as the miners of the world, miners with weaponsmiths.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty much exactly the same in World of Warcraft, but they're more sort of in tune with sort of the earth elements, and I mean essentially their main city is a massive forge.
Yeah,
it's called Iron Forge. I mean it's
can't get any more literal than that.
When you fly in on a griffin, you land on the edge of a lava pit. I mean, who knows? Night elves. Night elves are purple-skinned, glowy-eyed, green and blue-haired, wispy little things. They're elves. They've got long, pointy ears. In the lore, they were once all one race. All elves were once one race until something awful happened with the Burning Legion, and they got split. Some of them got a magic addiction. They became blood elves later on. The night elves essentially focus more on nature, so they are the hippie druids of the world. I play a druid as my main character, so hey, I like them. I like the character models. I think they're interesting. One of the best things I think about them is they have a wisp form when they die. So usually when you die in this game, you have to run back to your corpse to resurrect, or you can pay a small fee and resurrect at a healing station.
Yeah.
The wisp form, when you die as an elf, means you move quicker. I think it's about 25% quicker, which is really good if you don't want to pay the cost. They're resistant to nature damage. They do really well. They're stealthed. They're kind of they're the Legolases of the world. Gnomes are next. I love gnomes. Gnomes are tiny people, and they're really, really good at engineering. They have a city called Gnomeregan, which is just filled with massive cogs and robots. I mean, they build robots there. Really,
it's a tiny mechanical bunny rabbit to my gnome's left.
I'm assuming you're looking at the Hunter model. I assume that's a Hunter model. Anyway.
Yeah, that's that.
But yeah, they're pretty interesting from the lore perspective, I suppose. I mean, they're tacked on with dwarves, really. So they're kind of the mad engineers of the world. A race that came in the Burning Crusade expansion, the first expansion that came out for the Alliance, is the Draenei. Draenei are blue-skinned aliens, essentially. They come from another world, and they crash-landed their giant crystal ship onto Azeroth, and then rapidly made an alliance with the elves, and then got brought into the Alliance proper. They're known for having a very good connection to the light, which is almost the holy energies in this game, I suppose. I hesitant to say God, but yeah, I mean, it is essentially just generic. This is goodness personified. They carry big. I mean, in my mind, when I think of Draenei, anyway, I think of a male Draenei in silver and gold armor with a massive rock on the end of a stick that's just channeling the light. I mean, it's a paladin essentially. Coming in the I want to say Cataclysm expansion, I think I'm right, is the Worgen. The Worgen are werewolves. As you can see on the character model on the screen, you have the human side and the wolfy side. They are cursed beings, because essentially they ward off their city, and then the Forsaken just dumped a bunch of werewolves in the city, and they couldn't get out, so they just became... The entirety of Gilneas was turned into... Well, not the entirety. A lot of Gilneas was turned into werewolves. But they were taught to control their form, they can use it to their advantage. Blah, 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 blah. But yeah, they are... they can move really quickly if they want to. So Gilneas is set in sort of like a Victorian London-esque kind of way, which is weird. So you may well occasionally see just a werewolf in a top hat. We'll move on to the Horde now, because pandas are kind of special.
Yeah.
On the Horde side, the mainstay of the Horde are the Orcs. The Orcs are a race that came from another world and kind of poured into Azeroth from Draenor. They're green skinned because they drank the blood of a demon, and
as you do,
to get better at fighting. And then they were unleashed because they wanted to fight more. And then eventually they kind of got turned away from that by Thrall, who is one of the main characters in most of the games. He was the war chief. The war chief's now moved on like 4 people. But he was an orc that was raised in captivity by humans because humans kind of took them as slaves, which isn't the best.
Dick move, humans. Dick move.
Yeah. There's a lot of casual racism just bandied around about orcs in the human side. But yeah, they are essentially berserkers. They can enrage themselves. They're pretty amazing. They're the human equivalent on the Horde side. Next up are undead. This is going to be weird. So, canonically, the undead were being led by demons via Lich King. Eventually, a section of them broke free to follow the Banshee Queen Sylvanas. They live in Lordaeron, which I don't know if you played Warcraft at all. The RTS essentially.
No, never played that.
Lordaeron was a human city until Arthas, who... Oh god, where is he? He is the Lich King, was the Lich King, depending on whether you've done the Lich King expansion. He killed his father and took over Lordaeron, turned it into a city of the dead. Sylvanas took it back. It's now their undead city. They are zombies, essentially. They don't have to breathe, so they can swim underwater indefinitely. They can consume corpses to regain health and mana, so that's nice. But yeah, they're kind of spooky.
Well, this guy doesn't really seem to have a bottom jaw, so that's kind of...
Oh yeah, does he have the punk rock hairdo? I don't know.
It is kind of like a try-hard My Chemical Romance, but without it being kind of over his eyes.
That'll do it. Next up are Tauren, big cow people. So think of a Minotaur, kind of make it somewhat shamanic. So they have a strong sort of ties to the land, and a lot of the inspiration, I believe, comes from Native Americans. So very worship like the Earth Mother, and they're a nomadic group. They have one big city that was on Thunder Bluff. I don't know if it's still there. I haven't played a Tauren in a long time. But one of my first sort of trials of a class was the Tauren, because I just quite like them. They're kind of peace loving. I like the hippy dippy characters. I think that's what's happening to me. Elves and Tauren, they were just like peaceful, and they owe the Horde from digging them out of a shit tip. So they kind of joined up with the Horde. Underneath, possibly the most racially stereotyped accents in the game, the Trolls. The Trolls are Jamaican, kinda? Like they are. They're into voodoo, and they speak in an outrageous variation on a Jamaican accent, to the point at which it's kind of not okay, but at the same time you're like, well, it's comically bad.
Yeah.
They live on a bunch of islands, and they historically, like, there are trolls all over the place in Azeroth. They were one of the main bad guys, and a lot of things have got weird ancient Aztec style temples where they worship these are other trolls, not the blue skin trolls who are the dark spears, but other trolls worship sort of like gods of death and like snakes and things like that. It's kind of interesting dungeons. Zul'Gurub is an interesting place to play, and we might end up getting there if we carry on. Underneath them, Blood Elves. So you know how I said the elves split off? The Blood Elves were essentially addicted to magic, and they live in a wonderful magical city in the north of not Kalimdor. What's the other place called? Oh my god, my mind has gone completely blank. Well, they live in Kel'Thalas, which is the north of not the Kalimdor. Oh, I'm genuinely losing my mind. I can't say not the Kalimdor. That is embarrassing.
To be honest, there's a lot of lore that you're imparting right now.
I know, but still, we'll edit this out. The Eastern Kingdoms, of course it's Eastern Kingdoms. Oh my god. My brain just exploded. The Eastern Kingdoms, there's magical city of Kel'Thalas. It is a wonderful place where the Blood Elves, and they're called the Blood Elves because during the War of the Lich King, a lot of Blood Elves died trying to defend Kel'Thalas, so they named themselves Blood Elves in honour of their fallen brethren. They still struggle against this crippling addiction to magical energies. I don't know how it works. It's never really been explained. It's not like it's a physical substance. It's just you have to be near the sun well, essentially, which is a big font of magic.
Yeah.
Anyway, goblins. So, I should say, Blood Elves came out in the Burning Crusade alongside Draenei. Goblins came out in Cataclysm alongside Worgen. Goblins are, think of sort of mean gnomes. They're about a foot taller. So gnomes are engineers. Goblins are also engineers. There's this whole rivalry, between who's better.
Yeah.
They're originally slaves, and then they found a magical mineral, I think, which increased their intelligence. I think that's how it goes canonically. It's a strange one, but the they now live on an island. They're a very mercenary race, so they are led by essentially a merchant's guild. And yeah, they're kind of interesting, but yeah, they're hordes, so I'll probably never play one. And then last up we have Pandarans. Pandarans are a weird race that came out in the expansion The Mists of Pandaria. Go figure. And they're sort of a heavy sort of Chinese, Japanese, Asian fusion. More Chinese, I think, leaning towards it, but they are the starting realm is on the back of a giant turtle. I don't know how else to say it.
So it's kind of Jade Empire meets Kung Fu Panda meets Terry Pratchett.
Pretty much, yeah. But they have a giant an island that is completely enshrouded in mist. They have this incredible wanderlust. They can join either side. And there's this whole thing with the game is like, why do we fight? Then it's not the right question. It's who are we fighting for, or why? Yeah, what are we fighting for? But yeah, they traditionally are very mobile. They are incredibly drunk, so they make beer. like one of their classes is the monk, and the monk has a speciality of brewmaster, which involves like smashing kegs of beer on people. They're really good at cooking. And they're very odd. They're an odd fusion of stuff. But yeah, those are the races. So we'll move on to classes next, because hot damn, we've got a lot to get through. Warriors. Classes. First of all, warriors. Warriors carry big weapons and hit people with those weapons. They can also have shields and protect people with those shields. So there are 3 types of roles in this game. There is tank, there is DPS, and there is healing. There's melee DPS and there is ranged DPS. There's tanking, there's off tanking, there's healing, there's off healing. It depends how deep you want to get into it, but I'm blasting through it now. But yeah, warriors hit things, have a shield sometimes. There's also a specialisation where they can have a 2-handed weapon in each hand and just wail on people to
nice.
Give them damage. Underneath them we have paladins. Paladins are holy protectors and damage dealers, so they can throw their hammers of light. They're like kind of a mixture of Thor and like a holy warrior. They can also do tank healing or melee damage. They cast spells for healing. They are melee damage with they can power themselves. They can buff their friends. It's all interesting.
Yeah.
Underneath them, hunters. Hunters are traditionally a very newbie friendly class. They have a very small rotation. They are very simple, and you have a pet which can do some tanking or something for that, but they mainly focus on ranged or melee damage. You can have pets, so you can tame the wildlife and that becomes then your pet. You can send it off to attack, you can send it off to defend you. So you have a bear, well, the bear will be your tanking role. It will roar and draw attention, fight people while you pick them off with your bow. Underneath them, rogues, sneaky bastards with daggers. They can stealth, which means people can't see you, and they jump out and do massive amounts of damage, but they are incredibly squishy. They can also use poisons. There is a particular type of rogue which is less squishy and does sort of like more in-your-face melee damage, sort of like a pirate kind of bent to it. But yeah, fairly standard. Priests are healers primarily. They can also do a ranged damage roll, but their main thing is they wear cloth armor, they have a big stick, and they heal everybody, and they're really good at it. One of the things that they can do, and it's one of the hardest things I've ever tried, is trying to level their ranged damage roll, which is the shadow word pain roll, or shadow magic roll.
Yeah.
And that turns them into interesting damage dealers. It's kind of weird. But interesting, and pretty cool. Next up, shamans. Shamans wield elemental magics and can drop totems, and essentially they can cast fire and lightning and air and rocks and just do phenomenal amounts of damage, either ranged or melee, and they can heal, so they're kind of a nice hybrid all-round class.
That's cool.
I quite like them. I think they're very interesting. But you know, they've recently kind of been pulled over onto the Alliance side, and they are undoubtedly one of the more recognisable classes. I think there was a long time ago, there was a lot of talk about shamans being ridiculously overpowered. I didn't take part in it. I might have done. I don't know. Underneath them, mages. Mages are wizards. They can hurl fire or ice or arcane energies, and they are again squishy but do phenomenal amounts of damage. They can also do a lot of area control things, so drop big spells that hold things in areas. So with their ice specialization, they can freeze. They also have the ability to polymorph enemies, so turn them into sheep, which is really good if you've got too many enemies, because they'll just stare as a sheep for like a minute while you finish off their allies. But yeah, pretty cool. Warlocks are next. It's if a wizard went wrong. A warlock gets their energy from fell magic, and they can bind demons to them, summon demons, and even at later levels become a demon.
That's cool.
They do range damage, that's their main role. Monks are a relatively new class. They were introduced in Mists of Pandaria. Another hybrid-ish class. They can tank, they can heal, they can melee damage. They are very, very quick, very manoeuvrable, so you'll see someone who plays a monk well just bouncing around an enemy. It's kind of ridiculous. They take an interesting amount of skill to learn, but they're kind of fun. They're very fun to play. I'm currently, or I was leveling I think it was a Brewmaster tank, yeah. So I just stand in the middle of a fight and just hurl barrels of ale around, smashing the heads.
Quite a sight, I imagine.
Yes. Underneath them we have druids. It's my main class. Druids, first class I ever played. They are another hybrid class. They can tank, they can heal, they can do range damage, they can do melee damage. Mainly because of the fact they can turn into animals. So you can turn into a bear and be a tank. You can turn into a cat and do sort of a rogue style damage because you can stealth. You can become a tree and heal people. And you can be a giant owl bear and cast spells. It makes sense in the lore if you believe that the lore makes sense, which it really doesn't at times. But they are, I love druids. They are very, very nice things to learn. The only problem being is that you used to have to get different levels, different kinds of kit for the different specializations. Now it's much more streamlined, which is great, but it's all old hang-ups of mine. Yeah. The last two classes at the bottom we won't be taking, but we'll talk about them anyway. Demon Hunters. Demon Hunters have just been introduced in Legion. So there is a character in the World of Warcraft lore called Illidan, who is a Demon Hunter. He is essentially balancing his... When you're a Demon Hunter, you're essentially taking on as much demon magic as possible without actually becoming a demon. So you're walking an incredibly fine line between good and evil.
Yeah.
They are almost universally reviled until recently and considered to be bad because they are just psychotic.
Wow.
But the idea is that they'll do anything to save the world, including essentially just throwing themselves away. They wear masks over their eyes because their eyes burn with green fellfire. They have horns. They can become, metamorphosize into like a half hybrid demon form.
Okay.
They can fire lasers out their eyes. It's really weird.
That sounds mental.
It's great, but the trouble is they start at level 98, and they have a whole starting area built into just Legion, which is kind of cool if you want to get into that, but we're going to go, hopefully, vanilla. It's up to you. And then underneath them is Death Knight. Death Knight was the Frozen Throne DLC. Was it Frozen Throne DLC? Wrath of the Lich King. Wrath of the Lich King. What am I talking about? Wrath of the Lich King DLC. And they are like people who worked for the Lich King, like his highest up soldiers, and then essentially they broke free and again almost universally reviled because they are essentially dead and up until a few years ago had been just killing people across the world because of the Lich King, but now they're kind of good maybe, but they can raise the dead. They have this interesting mechanic of runes, so they can have a sword, you put runes on it and you can specialise using a different type of runes. They are a very cool class to play. I like them, but they are kind of hard to master.
Yeah, it looks a bit very dark side as to them, actually.
It kind of is, but that is a very, very potted version of World of Warcraft classes and races. Also, you can be male or female gender. But yes, what? There you go. I'm exhausted. There
should be some kind of world record for everything you need to know about Warcraft in 30 minutes or less.
This isn't anything you need to know about Warcraft either. If you really want to listen to some really cool stuff, lore-wise, I listen to a guy called Noble on YouTube. He does some phenomenal lore videos.
Yeah. And
his voice is very soothing. I find it. I listen to it before I go to bed, like just with the lights off, and I'm just taking on stories. It's
not weird at all.
Really. No, not weird at all.
Cool. Well, so you said with the Worgens, you have you're like primarily in human form, and then you just transform into werewolf when you want to go.
No. So you're primarily in werewolf form, and you.
Right.
Anytime you attack, you'll become a werewolf essentially. So you'll spend the majority of your time hovering around in werewolf form.
It's kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean, Gilneas is kind of an interesting place. Yeah, it's. I mean, the trouble is trying to find the mixture of race and class that you want to play.
Yeah, well, I was thinking maybe
it's a proper pain.
Oh, sorry, I was on Death Knight, and now I've come off Death Knight, and it looks significantly less badass. But...
Oh yeah, but Death Knights look incredible. They have the biggest shoulders in the entire world, Death Knights do. And this is a game that prides itself on having massive shoulders.
They are very long. So big.
And the thing is, like, if you look at the character models, those shoulders don't even, like, it's just such a tiny curve within all that armor. It's like, no one needs that much shoulder protection.
I don't know. I think it may be trying out a hunter, because I can do a bit of like up close and then a bit of range as well.
So are you thinking of being a Worgen hunter, or do you want to try, or did you want to try a horde character? I mean, I don't mind, because what I'm essentially going to say is, hey, I've played every class and I've played every race, and while I have a preference for Alliance, I don't really mind. You can pick my class. And I'll stay out the same race as you, and you can just pick a class for me if you want, and we'll go from there.
Sounds good. Well, I think it might be good to maybe could always do a second series of stuff where we do some horde stuff.
Okay.
So I think maybe I'm kind of taken by the werewolf right now. Maybe because I'm also currently playing Skyrim and have just been turned into a werewolf.
Of course you have.
But, it's what happens. So yeah, I think we'll try the Worgen hunter.
I can't tell you on a gnome, can I? Gnome hunters are actually a brand new thing. They've just only been introduced recently.
Oh, really?
There's a whole quest in Legion about the first gnome hunter. Like, how can gnome be a hunter? They can't even hold their shotgun. But okay, yeah, we can go with Worgen hunter. All right. So if we're going to be a Worgen, I'll be a Worgen as well. What shall I play? If you're going to be a hunter, what would you like me to be out of the classes that are allowed, which is warrior, hunter, rogue, priest, mage, warlock, druid.
Well, what complements a hunter quite well then?
Oh, geez, man. It all depends. Are you looking at doing range damage or melee damage?
Well, can I do bits of both, or do I have to kind of stick to one of them?
Well, you'll have to stick to one of them at any given fight.
Yeah.
But in between fights, you can swap your specializations over. It'll just involve you gathering a bit more gear and things like that.
think maybe a bit more up close and personal to start with, and then... So maybe if you want to do something a bit more ranged, maybe something like a mage, or... Is it warlock, because they're kind of ranged as well?
Yeah, I could do that. I tell you what, I haven't played a warlock in a long time. So let's go with warlock. Oh, yeah, I haven't done a warlock in it forever. Cool.
It's kind of funny as well looking at the Worgen, because everyone else kind of has a pet besides them, and the Worgen has a human, so it kind of gives the impression that the Worgen has a human pet.
Yeah. But yeah, let's see where we go. Okay,
Yeah.
Let's continue. So, basic character customization. Interestingly, you can customize your human and your Worgen, and as you change one thing, it changes the other on the human and on the Worgen. So, change your hair on the Worgen, you'll change your hair on the human, etc., etc.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah, we can go from there. So I'm essentially just going to randomize myself, I think. Yeah, that'll do.
Let's be nice and pale. So look at my face.
I'm pitch black.
Yeah, let's go for that dude. What kind of hair do I want? There's some really wacky hairstyles in this.
There is.
Yeah, that's kind of cool. Let's go for... Let's do the age-old, really sad thing of just recreating myself.
Oh, Mark, you poor
I know.
boy. Cool. Well, I need a proper... So we are, for those of you who are watching, we're going to be playing on a role-playing server. One, because my main character is on a role-playing server. If we need some support in game, I can then... Well, I mean monetarily wise or something like that. You know, if I want to show you the most of it, we don't want to have any issues. And while I don't think there will be a problem with money, it will certainly be a nice sort of fallback. But the other reason is that I find role-playing servers to be slightly more friendly and accepting of new people. Personal preference. I don't particularly like PvP. I don't like being auto-flagged for it. It's annoying. But hey, whatever you want to do. So, I'm going to come up with a hopefully decent name, and Mark is going to ruin me. So,
I think I accidentally created Ron Swanson from Parks and Rec a minute ago.
I hate you so much.
Actually, my werewolf doesn't look half bad. He's quite spiky hair.
Yeah, fair enough.
Let's go with this human dude.
Okay,
What
so
should I call
are you ready to name your? If you say Worgen Freeman, I'm going to hit you through the internet.
It's like you read my mind. And now I can't. I might have to do that.
Don't. I really hope it's taken. Tell me it's taken. I don't need that.
Can I do a space in my name, or does it have to be like underscored if I want to get it properly?
I don't think you can underscore or space. I can't remember what the rules are. I am going to see if I can take this name. Nope, I can't take that name. Cool.
I get like a chance to back out if I.
Oh no.
Like once it accepts the name, that's it.
That's it. You click on it, you accept it, and then you're done. Right, I have made my character. My name is Davlan. Level 1 Warlock. Worgen Warlock. I have a stick, I have an imp. I'm a wolf in a dress.
Oh, what a shame. I can only get to Worgen Freema. That's not good. That's not nearly as good.
God. Thank God.
Well, that's
disappointing. Hard to get down.
Let's try names that are bound to be taken.
Lupus. I wonder if that's taken.
I just tried Remus.
Oh, that's bound to be taken.
Oh yeah, of course. Lupus. Oh, that's unavailable as well. What other good werewolf names are there? Teen Wolf.
hate so much. I genuinely, I can't express how much it hurts me when we're on a role-playing server that you do this.
What about Michael J. Wolf?
And please tell me you're not good. You're not. You are, aren't you?
I'm hovering over finish, unless you've got a better name.
No, just click it.
I lose the capitalization though, don't I? So it's not going to look quite as good. Ah well.
And
we have the adventures of Michael J. Wolf.
Michael J. Wolf. Well, that is it, everybody. I can't stand it. I need to go and lie down. So, I guess in the next episode we will start the adventures of Michael J. Wolf and his player Mark Friend in this strange world of Warcraft.
Cool. Well, until next time, guys. Thanks for watching.
Thanks, guys. Bye.